They accidentally forgot to add me to the guest list of my own baby shower. When I called, Grandma said, "Oh, honey, it was yesterday. I sent $5,900 to help plan my shower. Instead, my sister posted a video with my decorations, my cake, and my name covered on the backdrop. Your sister's second baby is more special," Dad said. "It's her first girl." I nodded, then sent them a box of diapers with a note. "Good luck paying a loan." Froze card. Closed their credit line, and then I did this. I was sitting on the edge of the bed folding newborn onesies into perfect little squares when my phone lit up. No name, just voicemail. I pressed play. Grandma's voice came through, chipper and sweet, as if she hadn't just dropped a bomb. "Oh, honey, it was yesterday." "The baby shower?" "We thought you knew." I didn't blink, didn't speak, just stared at the tiny pink sock in my hand. Still folded, untouched. My name wasn't on the guest list. My presence wasn't missed, and the $5,900 I'd wired last month just to help take the pressure off planning, I'd said apparently helped fund a celebration I wasn't invited to. The cake I'd picked, the custom decorations I'd ordered. My name had been covered on the backdrop literally. My sister posted the video 3 hours later, her belly round under a blush satin sash that read, "It's a girl. My balloons. My budget. My..." Name blacked out with a taped-on heart that read, "Baby love." I watched it twice. No, 3 times just to make sure it wasn't a mistake, that I hadn't been late or early or confused. It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. When I called Dad, he didn't deny it. "Your sister's second baby is more special," he said plainly. "It's her first girl." I didn't argue, didn't cry. I nodded alone in my apartment 2 states away. Then I sent a box of diapers to their house. On the box, I taped a note. "Good luck paying a loan." Next, I froze the joint card, closed their credit line. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I disappeared quietly like they'd always hoped I would. I moved out at 19, no college fund, no suitcase with wheels, just a gray duffel. Bag, a borrowed coat, and my name on 2 credit cards that used for emergencies. The first time I paid rent late, it was because my mom asked if I could cover the electric bill just this once. I did. Then the gas, then the groceries, then the vet appointment for her cat, Muffin, which died a week later. When my sister got married, I paid for the dress. Not mine, hers. She wanted something timeless. I wired $200 before she even texted thank you. Actually, she never texted. Thank you. But I kept wiring for baby number 1. Then daycare. Then the cracked iPad screen because the baby threw it again. Again. By 27, I had 2 jobs and no savings. They had new furniture. Every time I said, "Maybe not this month," they said, "But you make more than all of us combined." Like that was an answer. Like my paychecks weren't already bleeding. When I sent $5,900 for my own baby shower, no one questioned it. No one paused to ask, "How are you feeling?" Not even once. They said I was generous. What they meant was, "She'll cover it." I was 6 months pregnant and packing online orders at 2 a.m. They were planning my shower without me. My sister Heather, the golden one, had her second baby last year. Oh boy, the whole town came to her first shower. Even the mayor's wife stopped by. Mom said it was the most beautiful day of her life, my first pregnancy. They forgot my birthday that year. I should have known. Heather got the front bedroom and our childhood home. I got the garage. She got ballet classes, orthodontics, a car. At 16, I got "You're so responsible." They told neighbors I was so independent. What they meant was we stopped checking in. When she announced her second baby, a girl, the group chat exploded. Pink confetti, maybe emojis. 32 replies. When I announced mine, Dad wrote, "Wow, hope you're ready. Hope I was ready." I was already buying their groceries, paying their internet, filling prescriptions for grandma they forgot to pick up. When Mom had any surgery, I took a week off work to drive her. Heather posted a selfie with the caption, "So lucky to have the best mom." I wasn't tagged. I was the shadow behind the camera, the one who cleaned the bathroom and paid for the nurse. When I said I might not be able to help next month, Dad replied, "We always helped you when you were young." But they hadn't. I worked at 15, saved up for my own prom dress, took the bus to college interviews, while Heather borrowed the car I helped gas up. They told people I was so driven. What they meant was she won't say no. I said yes too many times. Yes to the down payment when their roof leaked. Yes to the vacation fund just to keep things light after the year we've had. Yes to babysitting Heather's kids when she needed a mental health weekend. They never noticed I stopped smiling. They didn't ask why I never posted bump photos. They didn't ask anything. Because my job was never to be celebrated. It was to show up quietly, efficiently. And when I asked Mom why I wasn't invited to the baby shower I paid for, she said, "Oh, honey, we didn't want to stress you." As if absence was kindness, as if being erased was mercy. They didn't forget. They planned it without me. That was the part that kept me up that night. Not the shower, not the backdrop, not even the cake. It was that they never meant for me to be in the photo, just the invoice. I didn't call back, didn't scream, didn't beg to be included. I just opened the banking app and froze the joint card. The one Heather used for emergencies. The one Mom said was temporary, but had my name, and my credit, and my liability. Then I opened the credit line. The one I opened after Dad's shoulder surgery when their insurance didn't cover the second round of physical therapy. The same one they used later for the house remodel, which turned into a new kitchen for Heather. Closed. 3 clicks. 2 security prompts. No confirmation call. I logged into the baby registry they'd created on my behalf, the one Heather managed, and deleted it. My name was on it, but the items weren't for me. They were for her. Her baby. Her first girl. I watched the site blank. Refresh. Gone. The next. "Morning," Heather called. Her voice was brittle. Not angry, not apologetic, just confused. "Hey, something's weird with the Target card." It declined when I tried to check out. Just diapers and some wipes. Nothing big. I didn't answer. She left a second voicemail 20 minutes later. If this is about the shower, it wasn't personal. We just thought it would be easier. You've been so tired. You didn't need the stress. So tired. That's what they called it. Not excluded. Not erased, just tired. As if that excused what they did, as if silence was a favor. I opened my email instead, scrolled to the folder marked Legal. Opened the draft document I'd been working on since week 16. A simple clause in my will, guardianship preferences, emergency contacts, access control to join accounts. I updated all of it, removed every Monroe, added a friend from college who once drove 6 hours just to sit with me after a miscarriage. Someone who showed up without being asked. Hours later, Dad called. "Is this really necessary?" he asked, skipping the greeting. "You're angry, I get it, but freezing the accounts, that's not family." Family? He used that word like currency, like it was something I still owed him. "We helped with Heather's shower too," he said. "And it's not like this is your first." No, it wasn't. But it was my first girl. Not that anyone had. Asked? I didn't argue, didn't correct him, just hung up. That evening, I got a group message from Heather. Mom and Dad. No. Hi. No. How are you feeling? Just reimbursement split for the shower costs, $23,849, due this week. I stared at it. They didn't invite me, but they invoiced me. I left the message on read, then blocked the group. The next morning, a Facebook post went up. Heather, a photo of the party. She was glowing, one hand on her belly, the other resting on the edge of the table I'd paid for. No sign of me, not even a tag. The caption, "Grateful for everyone who made today so special. We are already so loved." We, not I, not my daughter, but we, as in her, and the village they built without me. I closed the app, deleted it. Then I made a list line by line. Every payment, every transfer, every favor, every loan I'd never called a loan. The time I sent $3,000 for Heather's broken down car. The $200 I wired for Mom's dental work when she said the crown wasn't cosmetic, but the insurance said otherwise. The school supplies, the therapy bills, the groceries, the electric bills, the subscriptions, the streaming services they used, but I paid for. I didn't do it for closure. I did it for clarity. Because for years, I'd let them shape the story. Was the helper. The one who didn't need much. The one with the good job, who just always had things handled. But I wasn't handling anymore. I was done. That weekend, Heather held a sip and tea at her house. Bigger crowd, more flowers. No mention of me. I wasn't invited, but I came not to cause a scene to end one. I wore black, not to mourn, just to disappear. Left the car running, parked 1 block down. The box was simple. Brown paper, tightly taped, heavy. Inside, diapers, formula, a few bottles, and a card that read, "Good luck paying a loan." I didn't ring the bell, just left it on the porch. Walked away. Halfway down the block, I heard the door open. Then my mother's voice too bright. "Oh, look what someone left." I didn't turn, didn't pause. She called out my name once, sharp, accusing, like I'd ruined something. I kept walking. Later, that night, I got a text from Dad. "You always did like being dramatic." I replied, "No, I like being useful. You just didn't know the difference." Then I turned off my phone. I didn't cry, didn't drink, didn't vent. I lit a candle, ran a bath, and let the silence sit because I knew what was coming. The begging, the guilt, the attempts to twist the story. But I also knew what wasn't coming. An apology, an admission, a single honest question. Why didn't we include you? Because they knew the answer. They just didn't want to say it out, loud. The first 3 days after the sip and see were silent. No calls, no texts, nothing. For the first time in 5 years, I woke up and didn't see a single notification from my family. "No. Did you get the gas bill?" "No, just checking. You were going to help with the crib, right?" Nothing. Just silence. And somehow that silence was louder than any scream they could have sent. I began to understand. They never loved my presence. They loved the access to my money, to my reliability, to the version of me who always said yes without being asked. Now that access was gone, and they didn't know what to do without it. On the 4th day, my mother messaged me. "Can we talk?" I read it, closed it, didn't answer. The next morning, I made oatmeal, a quiet bowl with raspberry jam, the kind I hadn't tasted since childhood. Back when love didn't come with invoices, back before affection was measured in transactions. On day 5, I got a letter, real paper, and handwritten from my father. Short, direct. We all made mistakes. But this is too far. Your mother is upset. Heather, too. No apology, no ownership. Just the classic language of older men who believe if everyone's guilty, no one is. I placed the letter in a drawer labeled "Don't Return." Week 2 was when it really started. First, a Venmo request from Heather. $180. No message, no context, just diapers. I declined it. For the first time in my life, I didn't pay. An hour later, she commented, "Typical. Everything has to be about you, about me." I sat on the couch, laptop open, and thought about all the nights I'd skipped sleep to wire money. About the vacation I never took so they could buy a car seat. About how I skipped dental work because Mom's crown was medically necessary, but not covered. And now I was typical. No, not this time. Then came the post. Facebook. Heather holding her newborn, smiling under a massive bouquet. Caption. Even when family walks away, God sends you real people. Over 100 likes, dozens of comments. You're so strong. Keep your head up. You deserve better. I didn't know any of them, but they already knew me. Or rather, the version of me Heather had edited into a villain. The woman who abandoned her family. The one who cut off her own parents. I didn't reply, didn't clarify, didn't send any DM. I just quietly unfollowed everyone who clicked. Like on the third week, an envelope showed up at my door. A formal notice. The joint credit line, the one still tied to my father's name, had been reactivated. Without my permission, the bank flagged the attempt and alerted me. I called directly. His voice sounded tired. Older. That was a mistake, he said. I thought we still had permission. Not anymore, I replied. You don't have access. He paused. Do you really want us to go through this alone? I waited, trying to figure out if that was fear or manipulation. You already did, I said calmly. I just stopped funding your silence. By week 4, I filed paperwork for my own LLC. Nothing flashy, no launch party, just a quiet foundation for something that belonged only to me. A consulting firm for women like me, financial restoration and restructure for daughters, turn sponsors, turn ghosts. I worked late at night with coffee and spreadsheets in silence. And the women came one by one, then 10, then 20, each with their own version of my story. The one who paid for her sister's wedding and wasn't invited to the honeymoon. The one who paid off her parents' mortgage only to be left out of the will. The one who carried everyone until she stopped and was labeled cold. I didn't pity them. I recognized them. They weren't bitter. They were finally done. And I helped them build what I had finally built for myself. A boundary made of numbers. A map back to peace. I wasn't vengeful. I was accurate. When Mom last reached out, it wasn't a text. It was an email. Formal, neutral. Maybe we could start over, just as adult women. No grudges. I read it. Didn't answer. But I saved it because for the first time, she didn't call me sweetheart. She didn't guilt me. She didn't say, "You're too sensitive." She called me a woman. Not a child. Not a burden. Not the strong one. Just a woman. I saved that email under a new folder titled Not Anger Closure. Because closure isn't silence. It's when you no longer need them to say sorry, and you're finally free of needing them at all. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. That was the strange part. Not after everything. Not after the erasure, the invoices, the empty invitations to events I'd funded but never seen. I wasn't angry because I finally understood what they were, what I had been, what I'd finally stopped being. For years, I believed I was the backbone, the steady one, the provider, the one who could handle it. And maybe I was, but it came with a cost I didn't understand until it was too late. They didn't just take from me. They built a system around me. A quiet economy. And I was the currency, my silence, my compliance, my usefulness. I was never the daughter, never the sister. I was the safety net, and they never expected the net to get up and walk away. The story spread, not loudly, not through press releases or posts, but through absence, the missing payments, the missed birthdays, the unpaid favors, the shock of why didn't she, the silence of what happened. They started to feel it, not in a burst, but in the small, subtle ways. People notice when the machine stops working. Mom's medicine ran late because I didn't call in the refill. Heather's phone got disconnected for 3 days before she figured out I wasn't the one paying anymore. Dad had to call the credit union himself. Each of them learned what I already knew. That love isn't measured by how much you can extract from someone. And that access is not entitlement. One night, I sat at the kitchen table, the same one I budgeted from, cried over, calculated every gift, every need, every debt. I pulled out a box, not big, notate, just a simple cardboard box I'd kept. For years, inside it, proof. Not receipts, but moments. A drawing from a child who wasn't mine. A thank you card from a fundraiser I never attended. A napkin from a baby shower I wasn't invited to. With frosting still stuck to the corner. I laid them out one by one. Not to reminisce, not to mourn, to confirm what I already knew. That I had always been there. Even when I wasn't seen. Even when they'd scrubbed my name from the banner, from the registry, from the family thread. I had always been there. And now I wasn't. When Heather sent the final message, it was short. "We miss you. Just come home. No punctuation, no warmth, just absence pretending to be affection. I didn't answer, not because I didn't have words, because I no longer needed them. Somewhere deep in the quiet, I had already arrived at the place she was asking me to return from. Home wasn't a house. It wasn't a family. It wasn't forgiveness. It was boundaries. And I'd built mine from steel. Months passed. The business grew. Clients came. Women found their voices and their limits. I watched them. I guided them. And in their stories, I heard echoes of mine. I saw the woman who paid for 3 weddings and wasn't invited to the 4th. The one who mortgaged her condo to save her father's business and wasn't listed on the new board. The one who raised a child who called someone else mom and the thank you speech. I didn't rescue them. I didn't have to. I gave them language, structure, legal clarity. I showed them how to close the account and still keep their dignity, and I taught them what I had learned in the hardest way. That survival is not selfish, that leaving is not cruelty, that silence is not forgiveness, but it can be freedom. One day, I received a package, no return address, inside a baby announcement. Heather's daughter, 1 month old, pink bell, printed photo, and a card. We thought you'd want to see her. She's perfect. You'd love her. I stared at it, not with pain, with finality. They still didn't get it. It wasn't about the baby. It never was. It was about how they used me until they didn't need me. How they filled a room with decorations I'd paid for and scraped my name from the backdrop. How they smiled in photos I funded but refused to look behind the lens. How they made a family out of convenience and called it love. I put the card back in the envelope, didn't throw it away, just placed it in a drawer marked, not mine to carry. When people ask me now, I don't lie. Yes, I'm estranged from my family. No, it's not temporary. Yes, it was my choice. They sometimes tilt their heads, offer the usual lines, but family is everything. You only get one. Don't you think they meant well? And I just smile. A soft, tired smile. Because I used to believe that too. Until I realized family is not who you're born to. It's who looks for you in the crowd. Who says your name with intention? Who keeps you in the frame even when you're not the one holding the camera? I'm not angry. Not bitter. I'm just free finally. Fully. And sometimes freedom doesn't roar. Sometimes it just sits across the table from you in the morning in a cup of hot coffee you brewed for no one but yourself. Steam rising, phone silent, peace loud, and no one asks you for a single.